Okay, the time has come. The Diddy files. Or rather, just looking at Pete, Diddy, Puffy, Love, Combs, whatever he calls himself today, whatever his name is, that child predator, allegedly. Looking at his chart. I've been debating on this because there's just so much to say that it's like, how much do I want to get myself in trouble here? Oh, what a sick. Okay, just full disclosure. I feel I need to get this out of the way because it bothers me when I see it, and I think there's a lesson to be learned here. So, in the early 2000s, I lived in New York. I modeled. That was my full time job. That's what I did in my past life, in my earlier days. And obviously, I was in the industry, as you would say. So, all those things are kind of interwoven, whether you're in music, acting, Hollywood, modeling, they all kind of intertwine once you're in that bubble. And I mean, models are basically the party favors for everybody more powerful. So just to say, I was around this, and nothing that has come out has surprised me because I heard rumors about it 20 some odd years ago. And this is the part that bothers me. When people get on their high horse and say, "Oh my God, I never, he was so nice, oh, this and that." Like, you knew. You're trying to save your own ass right now, but you knew. If I knew, and I'm very much like, listen, my chart is 50% land. I like to remain removed from that shit. I do not like the drama. I am the problem solver. I am just I'm the mother, I'm the driving force, I'm kind of the caretaker. Like if I'm everybody's in case of emergency person. So I've always been that person. I've never really drank or done drugs, so I was always very sober and aware. And I saw things as they were without any sort of diluted filters or rose colored glasses or drugs and alcohol skewing my view. But that's just to say, I never liked the drama. I would never seek it out. I'm not a gossiper. I just, I kind of stayed away from and removed from that in case it was like an emergency. And then who are you going to call in case of emergency? Me. Or just when you're working, or just people love to talk in that industry. Only to each other about each other, but they love to talk. So my point is, if and when word gets back to me about anything, that means everyone under the sun knew about it, or everyone in the industry knew about it by the time it got back to me. So if I knew, forget about it. Anybody who's still in the industry now that was then as well, 20 years ago, they knew. They knew. Like I wanted to stay on the outskirts and removed and not get into that mess because I saw it as a mess and as something that I really didn't want any part of. Like, I did it to travel. That was my main motive. I love traveling, still do as much as I can, but that was my main drive and motive, just to travel and live and work in different places around the world and to make money doing it. So that was my objective, which I think was why I just didn't fall prey to anyone or anything. I just wasn't ever deluded, or I never saw anybody with those rose colored glasses on, or saw anybody as like they can do no wrong. They're my favorite actor, they're my favorite musician, whatever. Like I understand that people are fallible, and I would always rather see things exactly as they are and save myself trouble later down the road. But anyway, yeah, point being, this was rumored. Rumored. This was going around. People knew if you were in the industry at all, even on the very, very outskirts, you knew. You at very least heard this rumor. And I mean, so there were rumors about him beating up Cassie. There were rumors about him being gay or doing sexual things with men. There were a lot of those. I mean, I remember hearing them back then. I remember the first time I heard one of the like the I heard from one of the few people I trust in life who was actually at one of those parties that I forgot whether it was that he walked into a room where Diddy was in or it was like on display. But Diddy was getting sexually pleasured by several men. Like there were a line of men to just like line up and take turns pleasing him. You can put together those pieces, I think. Um, but I remember the first he was that was the first time I had heard it, and then after that, I heard varying degrees of kind of the same thing, same vibe. And I remember just trying to figure out like what it was like. Nobody thought he was gay. He didn't come off as gay. I met him a few different times. Thank God it was like in daylight and in like a work setting. Um, there's been a few people like that I've encountered in life, and I've always been a trust my gut, trust my instincts kind of person, and don't overthink it. Like, just always go with your gut. He's one of the few people that just like sent shivers down my spine. Like, I just got such a negative vibe from him, and I never wanted to be around him. And I never went to any of those damn white parties because if I couldn't get myself back, I wouldn't go. So going like 3 hours away from the city to the Hamptons, no, I didn't have a car. I'm not relying on public transportation or anyone else. So no, I never went just because of that. I had a lot of friends that went. I'm not trying to tell anyone else's stories, but the point is, people knew this, and it drives me crazy when they try to pretend like they didn't just to save their own ass. I could say it drives me crazy that nobody spoke up earlier, but I understand the power dynamic. Oh, and that goes back to my conclusion when I was just trying to figure out because I need answers to things. So when I was trying to figure out why, like why would that be a thing? Like is it even true? Or are people just making this up because they don't like him? Um and I had already like met him and got like my initial instinct from him. So my inclination was to believe it. And then after some analysis, I always just thought that it was a test of power, that he was exercising his power and just seeing what he could make other people do for him. Not even necessarily that he likes men, but the fact that straight men would do sexual favors for him just to get signed, to get a record deal, to be famous, to be in his vicinity. I don't even know. Again, I never wanted to be that close to any of that shit. But yet word always comes back to me anyway. Um, so I never got that close. But I have heard enough and had enough of my own experiences to derive a fairly logical conclusion. I do just think it was that exercise of power. I do think that people get to a certain level, and even if you were like a nice person once upon a time, people get drunk on power. Even if it's not your power, even if you're just in the vicinity of power, people get intoxicated with it and they just they need it like a drug. And that's why, like, once they have it, or say if you just are dating a famous person, there's a reason why there's certain women throughout like Hollywood that are just like the pass arounds. Like they just go from one celebrity to another, no matter how badly they're treated. Like it's that power thing. They're drunk on it. They can't date any normal person anymore. They need just that access. And it is different knowing that you can just pick up a phone and have anything. Like it's kind of like having a genie in a bottle. You pick up a phone, you have your wish granted immediately. There's someone to do everything, and it's a lot of people get really really intoxicated with it, and just they'll put up with a lot for it. Think of Cassie, and I mean, I know there's Stockholm syndrome, and it's really hard to get away, and there's a whole host of other things that go on in those dynamics, but to some degree, I do think that people want the good things, the power, the access, the ease of having everything at your feet, the world at your feet, the world is your oyster kind of thing, that they put up with a lot that you shouldn't. But then there are people in just normal dynamics that are putting up with a lot of shit that they shouldn't for absolutely no reward. So, to each their own. I'm just saying, people knew this for 20 years. And I understand why nobody said anything, because if you don't, you're not going to put your neck on the line for something that you logically think is not going to come to fruition or do anything. You would literally just be shooting yourself in the foot by saying anything. I understand that, especially if he knew like cops or he had NYPD on the payroll or anything like that. I understand that. Just don't lie about it now and say that you've never heard such a thing. Like, shut up. Yes, you have. If I have, you have. And it just, he's not the only one. Like, what you're hearing about Diddy, everything that's coming out in court, and it's not a standalone thing, it's not outrageous. It is a lot more common in that industry than it is not. And again, it is just assholes who are drunk on their own power exercising it, seeing how much they can get away with, how much you'll put up with, how much you'll do for them. And it's kind of like funny to them. I think the greatest example of that is DiCaprio. I'll get to that in another video. But just testing people and seeing how much they'll do for you and seeing what you can get away with. It's like the ultimate petulant child. It's just, oh, and this industry is so bad for it because it just feeds them. It feeds all the negative things any person can have. All the negative traits can just fester and grow in that industry. It caters to it. It's meant for it. It's built on it. And I'm just saying that because for a long time, I never said anything bad. Again, because I don't like to gossip, but I also didn't want to be the one to burst anyone's bubble or ruin their day if they said like, "Oh, like how's this person or what are they like? What's this person like? What's this brand like?" I just what's the industry like? I would give the most subtle surface answer I could because I'm also not a good liar, but I also just didn't want to ruin anyone's day. I don't like gossip to begin with. I definitely don't like negative gossip. But I'm at the point now where I think it's good that this comes out because yeah, it's negative. Yeah, it might burst your bubble. But wouldn't you rather know the truth? I would always rather know the truth. Which is why I never had any problem whenever I would hear these rumors. I would just analyze and be like, how logical is this? Does it make sense? Does it track? Does it follow through? More often than not, yes. Also, the crazier the rumors, the more likely they are true. These people, the whole industry, it's nothing to be admired or idolized or want to be in or by at all. Power, access, money. Yeah, it makes life easier, but at what expense? Like there's a nice happy median where you have enough money and then you have enough time to use your money so you can actually live. But then you have the extremes where you have all the time in the world because you refuse to work, but you have no money to do anything in life. And then you have the total opposite extreme where it's never enough. Once you have all the money, all the power, what's next? What's next? Controlling the world, running the world. And I mean the world, not just one country, the world. Like to those people, there is never enough and there was always something more to control. And it does come down to just your average citizen or the little people. Because as much as we would, I, I mean, don't want to admit it, hate to admit it, there's a definite like class system in this modern society we live in, even in the land of the free. There's a definite class system, and it's kind of like those that don't know that or realize that are the biggest victims of that. I mean, an example is I was always well aware that just models in general, if you're with an agency and you're a working model, I do not mean like an Instagram model or an OnlyFans model. That's a whole nother thing that came way later, thank God. Ugh, didn't have to contend with that. Um, I mean, like a legit working model. Um, if you were that, and you can clearly tell yay or nay without any sort of like agency signing off, but your agencies do kind of get you in the door to these things because there's a whole strategy going on behind the scenes. For example, agents can get you onto any red carpet, like an after party red carpet, an after movie premiere red carpet. You can go to the after party carpet thing of like the Oscars, any award show, and the goal is just to get your picture taken and hopefully like get the picture published or posted somewhere and somebody talking. Even better, if you can kind of glom onto a celebrity and get your picture with them. Even better is if you can like snatch a celebrity and then you can take your career to a whole new level. It's strategic. Like there are definite strategies going on behind the scenes. Or you can get into any new hot club, any after party, anywhere. Like there's a reason for that. And it's not because these people are just so nice. You can also get all the free drugs and alcohol you want anywhere. Again, not because these people are so nice and sharing is caring. No, it's because you are the party favor. You are there for producers, actors, basically anyone more powerful than you, which is everyone in the room, for them to kind of scout you and point and pick which ones they want to take advantage of that night. And then they send their people for you. And then, of course, you're just expected to like fall at their feet because you're a celebrity. Mm. The worst thing you can say to any celebrity is, "Who are you?" So funny. Um, We'll get to that in another video. Just the egos that are there, because they truly do like just expect you to bow down and just like, oh, just fate, you chose me for tonight. Like, come on. Like, it just, it would so make me cringe. But again, it's just so strategic. That's why. And I know a lot of other like teenagers, early 20-year-olds, because I mean, by the time you're 25, you're like a grandma, so you're not welcome anymore. um, so they're too young to know any better or see this, especially because most of the time they're inebriated. So they're not firing on all cylinders. They're not using their mind to its full potential. So it's sad. It's strategic. If you're in the industry, you know, and it's just amazing how much shit goes on that is truly just silenced, covered up. Also, I spent a lot more time in New York than I did in LA, so I didn't hear any Harvey Weinstein rumors, but I did hear. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name, but it rhymes with Rhett Ratner. He like produced or made, directed, he had something to do with all the music videos of the early 2000s. And I just remember hearing that the only way to get into his music videos was to do sexual favors for him. So I just never went on any of those castings. But again, just another exercise in power and just another rumor that just people know. People know. And there were a lot of rumors like that. I don't know why that one stands out to me. Probably because I got so many that's it. Because I never went, so I got in trouble for not going. That's it. That's why it stands out because I was in trouble for it. Um, they don't like you to not go on your castings, but what are you going to do? I'm stubborn. Anyway, I think it's good, promising, progressive that we do burst the bubble that is Hollywood and just see these sick fucks for what they actually are. And it's just that sick individuals that are drunk on their own power, that are narcissistic, and I mean clinically narcissistic, not just like a selfish asshole, like clinically narcissistic. They cannot take an honest viewpoint of themselves, and they do think of themselves as some kind of god. The industry is full of people like that, and that thereby exercise that power to the detriment of others. And the more we speak about it and expose it, the harder it will be for them to do it. What is done in the dark always comes to light, and now is that time. And once you know, like I said, it's one thing to like figure it out in the moment. Like if you really did idolize these people and then you're like you go from like, oh my god, I'm so lucky, like they chose me, I'm in their apartment, their hotel room now, and then like, oh wait a minute, what's happening? Like it's one thing to figure it out in the moment, it's another thing to have this so widely discussed that you know don't go anywhere alone with these people and don't take any drugs or alcohol from them ever. I mean, I think that's kind of common sense, and that's what saved me from a lot of these instances. But I also know that a lot of other people fell prey to them. So let's look at this sick fucker's chart. Obviously, he's a Scorpio because all the sick fuckers are. So yeah, Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Mercury. There's a thing with Scorpios. Like if Scorpios can be extremely good and psychic and healing. They can be so in touch with their own emotions, which once you are so in touch with and you've taken care of your own emotions, it kind of just turns into intuition, which can guide your life, which can heal others, which can bridge worlds. Like anybody that can communicate with ghosts or other entities or animals even, I swear they are a well developed Scorpio. Like they have that innate ability, it's within them. It is hard to get to. You have to dig through a lot of shit and a lot of trauma, because there's also something in Scorpios where it just like they kind of come with trauma or they're just destined for trauma. If you have Scorpio in any prevalent place in your chart, you're going to be dealing with some shit in life. Let's just say that. So, what you do about it, how you deal with it, is your choice, of course. So, you can either take all that trauma and pain and experience that you have had to go through and put it onto other people and torture other people for it, or you can self reflect, which a lot of people in the industry cannot do, and figure out what lessons are to be learned here and why it happened and how you can stop it from ever happening again, because anyone can stop any cycle at any point in time. We are not dominoes. Just because somebody hurts you does not mean you have to hurt somebody else. Like, we're living, breathing things with free will and choice that we should exercise. We are not a marble stone that if one falls, the rest have to fall. No. So this is your choice. Even if something bad happened to you, it is your choice what you do about it. I am not a hurt people kind of person. Uh-uh. No, that's an excuse. You choose how you react to things. Sometimes it is always hard to do the right thing. The hardest thing and the right thing are the same. Like, it is hard, but I think well worth the reward. Just me though. Mm. So he has a Scorpio moon. I think we all know how I feel about Scorpios. They're generally psycho. They're just obsessive. Well, Scorpio's obsessive too, but in a different way. Um, yeah, and the two main, when you have Scorpio and you choose to not heal your trauma and not do anything about it, you repress it instead, it seeps out. It either, and the most common ways it seeps out is, well, men get away with this better. Just having that like really dark, kind of sarcastic, I would say mean sense of humor, but men get away with that, especially if they're like at all like good looking or powerful. It's just like, oh, he's so sarcastic. Like, women will ride that off as opposed to just calling it like it is and being like, you're a prick. Um, it comes out in that weird, dark, sarcastic sense of humor because that's the only way they can actually state or say anything they're feeling is in the way of a joke. Or they have the joke in their back pocket just in case like you do actually take offense to what they say. They can always just pull that card out and be like, oh, I was just kidding. Don't be so sensitive. When really they're the ones that don't have the balls to say it straight to your face. It has to come in the form of weird, surreptitious joke. So beware of any like weird, sarcastic senses of humor. Ironically, on women, it doesn't hit well. Like, if you just see like a woman that's like always like their sense of humor is just like off. Because like the darkness doesn't sit well in women, I don't think. So when you have like kind of a dark, somewhat like sexual, sarcastic sense of humor, like it just doesn't hit right. So anyone like I think we would most commonly say like socially awkward. Those are like Scorpio women more often than not. Try it and see. Analyze. Like I promise you, it's a pattern. Whereas men get away with it because they pull off like the dark brooding thing better. And I just think women will fall for it because women are more desperate than men, sadly. The other way it comes out is in sick sexual patterns. Like the men that just want to like keep pushing the boundary and keep experimenting and keep like seeing what they can get away with, which ironically seems like what happened with Cassie. Like, I don't know if he got to pull this off with like J Lo or Kim Porter or anybody that was with him before. I question his mother. But I don't know. From what I've heard, like in court, and in court, you're not supposed to lie. So I kind of take that more seriously. But it seems like it was, again, like most abusers is just like little bit, just pushing the boundary, pushing the boundary, pushing the boundary, see what she will put up with. And as long as she keeps saying yes, or as long as you don't push back, they're going to keep pushing forward. We all have to take responsibility for our actions. And you got to question, like, why didn't she push back? Like, why didn't she just put her foot down and say no? I wonder if it's in her chart. I'll look. But I question that because, I mean, I've come across a lot of these people, and I think they find out real quick that I'm just not one to mess with, or that, like, you're not going to get away with shit with me. So they skedaddle real quick. And that's it. Like, predators need victims to be weak. They don't want them fighting back because ultimately they are not that strong. And if you actually, like, really like look at them for who they really are, not who they want to be, not the image, or are willing to confront them or just talk to them straight, like, nothing pisses them off more than that. Like, to a lot of people, just being confronted with reality is like the worst thing ever, which is scary. But it says more about them than it does people living in reality. So those are the two most indicative things of the unevolved Scorpio, the most negative traits of a Scorpio. Like I said, when it goes bad, it goes real bad. And I do feel sorry for anyone who has to deal with them. And I wonder why they just don't skedaddle, leave. I mean, I understand once you're in it, and you cannot just leave, especially in an abusive relationship. But why did you get so deep into it? It's like, maybe, hopefully, once you have this knowledge, you can see these things earlier on, see the warning signs, follow the red flags, and get the hell out before it's too late. That's what I would hope for. Knowledge is power. Never negate it. Okay. So he has 3 6 signs right off the bat. Oh, yeah. And Virgos are just generally psycho. They overanalyze, obsess about minutia, whereas like a Scorpio will obsess about power and always feels the need to have power over other people because it's an overcompensation for the lack of power they feel within because they have no control over their emotions. They're, again, Scorpios are like the bottom of the ocean. They are the deepest feelers. They feel like the depths of feelings. Like, Scorpios feel them all. And especially men cannot deal with that. So you run and hide from it, you repress it. You have no idea like what it even is. So it just festers, breeds, grows in more insecurities, more instabilities, more fears, just all the negative emotions. And it comes out. It always seeps out. The truth always comes to the surface, no matter how much you try to repress it. So power is, ooh, it's like the overcompensation for all those holes on the inside. As long as you come off as like the most powerful man in the room, then no one will see all your insecurities, right? Mhm. Ugh, God. Um, Libra, Libra Venus. So he likes Libra. Like, he would be attracted to Libra women, which makes total sense because those would be the easiest to manipulate. They like Libras out of all signs, they'll fall for anything. Just tell them a good story. They'll believe it. No questions asked. Ugh, Capricorn Mars. So he's not afraid of hard work. Capricorn is also a very much depressed, very much like Eeyore, woe is me. Like, why do I have to do all the work? Why am I the only one? It's very dark. It's not afraid of work, but it will be sad and depressed about the work it has to do. Libra Jupiter. Pisces North Node. Boy, he's far from his North Node, which probably explains why he's so miserable because happy people do not treat people the way he does. Actions speak louder than words always. So, I mean, Libra's fairly inconsequential, especially if you have it with such strong signs like Scorpio. Libra ain't doing anything here. The only thing that Libra would be doing is kind of giving him some distance from reality. Like air signs are very good thinkers, they're very good at considering every different perspective and angle under the sun. You know, they don't just look at things from their own point of view. Like they can always create a story. They can always make something right in their own head. So say you are doing all the shit that Diddy was doing. That Libra Jupiter, which is just like his little extra on top, he has extra abilities with that Libra to kind of justify all his actions and somehow make it totally fine on the surface anyway. He can tell himself that mentally. Would he feel that like intuitively, emotionally? Probably not. It would probably lead to even extra shame that Scorpio is carrying, which would lead to extra overcompensation in power exercises. Funny the way that works. Self fulfilling cycles. So, really, what weighs heaviest in his chart is that Scorpio and Virgo, which he actually very much seems like. And it's funny because Pisces, North Node, if he were actually following his life path, he would have turned into an intuitive and he'd be walking the path or living the life of kind of helping people bridge gaps. Because the best thing about Pisces is it's like the air sign of water signs. It has the ability to kind of translate emotions into words, which is actually incredibly hard to do, and to kind of lighten up the weight of water and all those feelings and emotions that just is water. So if he were, like, say, if he had that Scorpio and he actually confronted it and did right by it and exercised it and got the reward for all the hard work emotionally, yeah, he would probably, this sounds so contradictory to say, be like a spiritual healer with this chart. He's not afraid of the hard work with that Capricorn Mars. Ah, it's funny. It's funny the way our charts can take a turn based on our decisions. And also, you always have to factor in nature versus nurture. Like what kind of home did he grow up in? What happened to him as a child? What kind of mother does he have? Because she seems suspicious. Um, yeah, so you got to factor in that too. So again, that's why you can have charts that are so similar and that people are actually really different. It's very interesting, but it shows you how much our free will and choice do factor in. And of course, just our real life circumstances. But yeah, that's funny. Nothing groundbreaking here. I knew he was a Scorpio because I had looked it up before, but I didn't really look at the rest of the chart. We don't know his ascendant sign, meaning we don't know the time he was born, which is like your soul. It's the most true to who he really is, which I would love to have, but I can't seem to find it. So if anybody does know the time that Diddy was born, please let me know and I'll do another analysis because it would be very interesting. I actually expected a lot more Scorpio, but again, the Libra does make sense as to how he can kind of live with himself at all after doing the shit that he does. Um, you know what's weird is that Ryan Reynolds has way more Scorpio. I wonder what he does behind closed doors. Again, all this Diddy shit is a lot more prevalent than you would think. He is not the only one doing this crap. Just remember that. And be aware if you are young and in the industry, please save yourselves. It is not worth it. Yeah. Just that Scorpio, Virgo, just those obsessive signs, obsessed with power, obsessed with detail and minutia, and nothing else that really stands out. It's very interesting to me what could have been from this chart pretty much the exact opposite. So, like, gosh, talk about a fork in the road. Yep. Mm, well, take this, kids. Stay away from these people. Or at very least, be aware and take care of and look out for yourself first because odds are no one else is. You got to have your own back, especially around people looking to take advantage of you, which, just assume everyone is, because I can guarantee you everyone in the industry is. And actually, most industries are looking to get the most for themselves, and most people are looking to get the most for themselves and screw everyone else. So you got to look out for you. Moral of the story.